Why the rush?
Yes!
Come on, what are you after?
The train! Can we make it?
We live in constant anxiety, always trying to get somewhere else, to prove something, to become someone. We spend our days running, building a narrative, trying to reach a version of ourselves that feels complete. We have turned living into an endless exercise of storytelling.
That's what happens when you're always in a rush.
We call it our life, but probably we're just rushing to finish a script, a story.
Preoccupy yourself with how do you tell a story that's really interesting, that you can get somebody not to walk out of the room right in the middle of your second act of you're telling the story.
Why should anyone stay in a story? Why are stories so important to us? Why do we rush after stories? I mean, we tell stories since the beginning of time, but why is it that movies, and especially American movies, got so good at telling stories? And is it just American cinema or also American culture? Wait, first of all, what is a story? I'm obsessed with that question. What is a story really? I like to think a story is like a map, a sequential chronicle of change, a way to the river, a map to the treasure. Some kind of treasure, no matter what, we are always after something else, right? But why is that? Do we believe only a good story will take us to virtue, to richness, to freedom, to happiness? Where did we get that from? It's late at night and I'm still watching videos about the gold rush. I've always felt drawn to this particular myth. Pioneers crossing the desert for the foundation of a nation. But why? Why am I obsessed with the myth of America?
Water is for cowards. Water makes you weak.
I've always been struck by how Americans value hard work. The idea that one has to work hard to get to be someone. I wonder where that comes from.
Bless these boys and the season before them.
Well, I understand one of the roots of the myth, just one important root, is this Protestant idea that to live a life of virtue, you need to achieve prosperity, and that to get prosperous, you need to work hard. I'm sorry, laziness won't open the doors of heaven for you. In a way, the new continent was presented as an empty page where you could erase your past and start anew. Of course, the land was not empty. It was emptied. The desert is never a desert. Sure, there were concrete economic reasons that moved people to the West: poverty, hunger, desperation. But is it possible that those material reasons then turned into symbolic reasons? They say that the first pioneers, at least some of them, who knows, were just looking for a place to live, land to grow, and a way to escape hunger. Nothing wrong with looking for better conditions for our lives, of course. The question is what happens when we turn survival into a myth? And what happens with all we need to erase, say, kill, to build a story? But what is a story, really?
You mind telling me where you're headed, Trav?
Okay, let's suppose that those early settlers were looking for a home. But what about the 49ers and all that came after that? What happened when America started to promote California as this promised land full of gold and richness? Was the gold the real goal, or was it just an excuse to exterminate the natives and expand the new country? Sure, probably there were people just looking for gold, but did the dream of gold become one of the stories that justified expansion and the destruction of communities and people? What do we need to erase to tell a story? What do we need to erase to tell a story? It's fine. Stories are important. They are survival tools. Stories are the maps that take us to the river. My question is, why do we obsess with the river when we are no longer thirsty? It's late at night and now I'm watching videos about Edison and how the movie industry conquered the West, the myth of Hollywood. How many people have fallen into that golden dream of stardom? Is there an analogy between the rush for gold in the 19th century and the rush for stardom in the 20th?
I can't believe it.
One thing takes me to the next, and somehow I find myself in 1776.
It's a time machine, isn't it?
How did I get here? How is it that I'm suddenly reading about Jefferson writing the Declaration of Independence alone in a room in Philadelphia?
It was right then that I started thinking about Thomas Jefferson and the Declaration of Independence and the pursuit of happiness. How did he know to put the pursuit part in there?
Oh, well, it looks I'm not the only one trying to connect the dots. An interesting fact: the American Declaration of Independence does not say that all people deserve to be happy, but deserve the pursuit of happiness. Why pursue if we could just be? 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 That's my question today. Beyond the social and political reasons that shaped the Declaration in the first place, the question is, how do people interpret those words in time? I mean, I'm not saying Jefferson wanted people to be anxious and chronically unsatisfied. Who knows? But in a way, I wonder, could that declaration be a life sentence to incessant searching? Maybe this sounds like an absurd leap, but I can't help wondering. I mean, one thing is survival, looking for food, looking for water, looking for a place to live. But another thing is looking for success, for validation, for self-worth. Why is self-worth or happiness always placed somewhere else?
Just go get happy!
If you're not okay here, well, maybe there. Here, there, here, there.
See you in the future. You mean the past? Exactly.
All you need is a goal, which at some point they called a dream, and the energy and resources to go for it. But why do we need to search for it? And where are we supposed to find it, really? At the end of the road? At the end of the sentence? The sentence. Who knows, maybe it's just a grammatical problem. Subject, verb, object. I pursue happiness. It looks like happiness is simply an object that the subject, the I, tries to reach at the end of a long sentence. It's not so long, but it's long enough. Maybe the problem is not the object, but the verb that separates subject and object. Language, maybe that's our life sentence. Is freedom only found at the end of a long sentence? Or say, continent?
When's enough going to be enough for you?
Probably never.
As Joan Didion put it, wanting things and working to get them is the basis of the American way of life.
Greetings from the wettest place on earth.
But that American way of life, which is still a dream, well, isn't it just a sentence? Isn't it just a story? A story. Again, what is a story? Maybe a story is just a road between point A and point B. A, B, and the road. A story, just like a bridge, connects the 2 points, yes, but in doing so it also reveals their separation, right? The thing is, if we were already happy at point A, why bother going on the road? Why bother with storytelling? If we felt already rich on the East Coast, why the rush to cross the desert? So here lies the irony, the yearning for more, the illusion of a golden future. The symbolic thirst is exactly what ends up causing the literal physical thirst. They gave their lives for a story. My question is, were they really thirsty? Were they really missing something? And are we now? Stories are maps of what is missing. Stories are maps of what is missing. Stories are a map of what is missing. The question is there anything missing when we tell no stories? If no one ever talked about the West, what would have happened?
What's out there?
If no one had ever lost their gaze on the horizon, dreaming in the immensity for something better, would they have crossed the desert at all?
Nothing out there.
So in America, when the sun goes down and the minds of sleepy people start to dream, if no one had ever told and sold the story of a golden future, would they have even wanted to go that distance? Did that distance even exist before someone talked about it? Maybe I'm trying to connect too many dots. Every desert means something different, a specific inner distance.
Do you ever yearn?
Yearn? Do I yearn?
I yearn.
You yearn?
Oh, yes, I yearn. Often I sit and yearn.
The problem is not wanting things, the problem is not imagining what's beyond the horizon. Desire is not a problem. The problem, I think, is that we believe that until we go that distance, until we make our dreams real, until we find that treasure, we are just nobody.
Oh, completely open country!
Of course, if America is quote-unquote an empty page, we have to write something on it to exist. Just to exist.
If I drive straight towards the screen, I'm going to crash into those Indians.
Within this myth, it can feel as if we need to write a story in order to exist. And the story is probably just the map that tells us where we need to get to prove that we exist. I tell my story, then I exist. I work hard, then I exist. I go the distance, then I am.
It really don't matter if I lose this fight. It really don't matter if this guy opens my head either. Because all I want to do is go the distance.
How did I end up in Rocky? It's still late at night and now I'm watching Rocky 1976. 1976. Wait a minute. Is it? Yes. 200 years after the Declaration of Independence, in the very same city of Philadelphia, this movie, Rocky.
Philadelphia!
I know this may sound like late night thoughts, but I wonder, would Rocky exist had Jefferson not written the word pursuit in his declaration? Because, the thing with Rocky is that he's hurt and he thinks he's a nobody, a bum, he says, just because he never got the chance to prove himself worthy. Maybe he doesn't realize it, but although his material conditions are tough, it's pretty clear to me that his anxiety is, at least partly, a result of a story in his head, the story his culture gives him to interpret that wound. Where did he get that from? Why does he believe that he needs to do something to go that distance to prove he's somebody? Quote-unquote somebody. Rocky knows he won't beat Apollo, but whatever wound his inner story is trying to heal, whatever fault line it's trying to bridge, that story says he needs to fight until the very end, just to prove he's not a nobody. A nobody, quote-unquote nobody.
I sit and yearn.
Notice how the camera slowly tracks in toward the close-up, framing his eyes as they stare into that impossible distance, that horizon, that golden treasure. As his mind unravels the story, the camera also takes its time walking the distance with him, almost as if it were pushing the mask to open up. It's a cinematic convention, but it works. The camera slowly approaching creates this pressure on the actor's face and makes us feel we are getting inside, revealing that inner desert, that individual and collective psychic desert. It's late at night and I keep watching this shot in Rocky 50 years ago, 1976, 50 years ago, the movement of that camera, 250 years ago, Philadelphia. It's late at night and I'm obsessed, as Rocky was obsessed and lots of people so obsessed, dreaming with that immensity. Is that immensity what makes us dream? Is the desert what makes us anxious? All those lonely souls running fast on some crazy road, a lost road in a lost desert, trying to find something, whatever, something else, just to be somebody. somebody.
Some of you guys are here because you think you're somebody. There's one guy in here who's gonna be somebody.
Pursuit, pursuit, pursuit. Exactly 200 years after the pursuit was set in motion, 200 years after those words entered American culture, this movie, and particularly this small scene and this camera movement, makes us feel the danger of the words we use to put a nation into motion. A nation into motion, say a myth on the road. Of course, I'm compressing 2 centuries within a single line, but it's late at night and I'm just following a poetic intuition. So I wonder, is American culture founded on that mythical road? Say that eternal desert? American culture founded on a distance? Is American culture founded on chronic dissatisfaction?
Can you spell everything you're thinking of?
You know, I think that movies are a conspiracy. I never met Clark Gable. I never met Humphrey Bogart. I mean, they don't exist. But the movies set you up, you know? They set you up to believe in everything.
American culture is not American, Rebecca Solnit said. Of course, this conditioning, this obsession, this yearning is not just an American problem. This is a maze in the human psyche. We all secretly fear that if we stand still, if we stop producing or even dreaming, we might disappear. So probably this video is not about America. It's not an American story. It's a human story that America learned to tell exceptionally well.
Let's go to Los Angeles. It's filled with sunshine.
It's quite a human thing, but probably it's in America where this anxiety, the anxiety of the species, found its most conclusive, eloquent and radical expression. Maybe America founded its identity on that human conditioning. Is it? Did America perfected that human psychic map?
You're still here? I came back. I thought that's what you wanted. Nobody wants you here.
There is nothing wrong with maps. They help us get to the river.
Hold on, baby.
The thing is, we get so attached to our maps that we freeze on the shore, terrified of getting wet.
You're not really gonna go to California, are you?
Up here, I'm already gone.
What's interesting about Jack Kerouac's travels on the road is that he was not after the golden treasure of happiness, but rather the exploration of America, both as a collective myth and a reflection of his inner landscape. He knew we all had those deserts inside. The distance that unsettles Rocky, we all carry within. That thirst, that inner West, that inner Hollywood.
There's nothing on it.
Empty.
The achievement of human happiness requires not the perennial and fuller satisfaction of our needs as they stand, but the examination and transformation of those needs. Stanley Cavell, Pursuits of Happiness, Pursuits. Interesting that Cavell's book is not The Pursuit of Happiness, but Pursuits in plural.
What are you going to do when you fail here? Keep going west?
As John Didion wrote, California is a place in which a boom mentality and a sense of Chekhovian loss meet in an easy suspension, in which the mind is troubled by some buried but ineradicable suspicion that things better work here, because here, beneath the immense bleached sky, is where we run out of continent. The question is, what if we don't find it here?
It's got to work out this time, or that's it for good.
I pursue happiness. What if we took the verb out? What if we also took the I out? I don't know, nobody knows. It's late at night. It's just late at night.
Look, Franklin, he's done it. He's written it. Dear Mr. Adams, I am taking my wife back to bed. Kindly go away.
It's been real nice talking to you. Good night.
Did you like the picture? I always love Humphrey Bogart.